Mechanism is a system, is an institution, is a structure which brings both supply and demand together to decide price. Do we understand market mechanism now?
Yes.
Do we understand market mechanism?
Yes.
It's a system or structure which brings demand and supply together to set price. Clear?
Yes.
Then we have planning. When we talk about planning, we're talking about arrangements which involves people and government. So for people, at your home, the dad decides what and who to get what. Yes or no? So it means, oh, I have to decide in my family, I have to decide what we have to get now, what we have to get at a later date. So we have to allocate resources based on our income. Do you get the point here? So I am going to base my allocation on what I have in terms of income. I won't give what I don't have. So that is individuals here. So I'm faced with the problem of scarcity. So I have to think about what I need now and what I'm going to need later on. That is the point here. Please sit down properly. Is it clear, please? Then for government also have to decide. But how do they do that? They do that through budgeting. There's planning. Planning for individuals is who gets what. But for government, planning for government is about budgeting. Hello. Planning for government is budgeting. Now when we talk about budgeting, we're talking about how resources will be managed. What do we have in terms of revenue and what are we going to spend? So budgeting is about revenue and expenditure. Government revenue, government expenditure. So government would want to ensure that whatever they make is what they are able to spend. So there's always what we call the surplus for budgets. We have the surplus or the deficit. So in these two situations, government would always want the economy to have a surplus budget or there's a balanced budget. So what makes them differ? For surplus budget, it means the revenue is exceeding the revenue is exceeding the expenditure. That means government revenue in terms of taxation is higher than government expenditure. That is surplus budget. Do you understand surplus budget here?
Yeah.
Government will plan through budgeting. And when we talk about budgeting, we're talking about a financial plan on our expenses and revenue. Government revenue, a source of government revenue is mainly through taxation and the resources they have that they could really export. So this is a way government will make revenue. So government will plan on revenue and expenditure. Government plan on revenue and expenditure is called budgeting. Do you understand what budgeting is and budget? Okay. Now the budget itself can be surplus, can be deficit, and can be balanced. So if we are talking about a balanced budget, it means your revenue is equal to your expenditure. Government revenue is equal to government expenditure. That is balanced budget. On the other hand, if we're talking about a surplus budget, it means government revenue is greater than government expenditure. Government will build roads, yes or no? Government will build roads, bridges, infrastructure. These are government expenditure. So whatever government spends, if it is less than what government is making in terms of revenue, then it is a surplus budget. But if government spending exceeds government revenue, then it becomes a deficit. Do you get the difference here? Do you get it or not?
Yeah.
No, I will explain again. We have three situations for budget. Budget itself means a plan on revenue and expenditure. Revenue are the money that government will make through taxation and exportation. Expenses are government expenditures are government spending on road, education, healthcare. These are government spending. So, if government has to make a plan, we said planning in allocation of resources. Government has to plan, yes or no?
Yeah.
If government has to plan through budgeting. So budgeting is the act of making the budget. So the budget itself is a financial it's a financial plan on government expenditure and government revenue. So government knows what it's going to make in terms of revenue. Government also knows what it's going to spend in terms of expenditure. So now it has to put it together. So that plan government has in what it's going to make and what it's going to spend is called the budget. So if government spends more than what it's making in terms of revenue, then it is a deficit. If government spends more than what it's making in terms of revenue, it is a deficit budget. If government spends less and makes more, it is a surplus budget. But if the figure or the value of budget, if the value of expenditure equals to the value of expenditure, Sorry, if the value of revenue equals to the value of expenditure, then it is a balanced budget. Do we get it now?
Yes.
So we have 3 sets of budgets. We have a surplus one, which is revenue exceeding expenditure. We have a deficit, which means expenditure is exceeding revenue. And we have a balanced one, which is revenue equals to expenditure. Do we get it? So this is how government would allocate resources. Government will allocate through planning via budgeting. For market mechanism, they put demand and supply together to decide price. Are they clear? Do we have any question? Are we sure?
Yes.
Thank you.